Hello everyone, welcome to episode 2 of Stream Big. Last week was a bit of an introduction episode, but this week we're going to be getting into some specific topics and talking in a bit more detail about what's going on at lounges. We will also be sharing the news from the week, some of the highlights that have gone on, and as always we'll be doing our creator pick, and we actually have a special guest in the studio today, so make sure you stick around to hear that. We haven't been cancelled yet. So let's get into it and see how it goes. Scott, how have you been?
All good, thanks, Craig. How are you?
I'm good. I thought we'd start this week with the news and an update on what's been going on in the world of lounges, World of Lounges TV.
And there's quite a lot.
There is a lot going on. There's always a lot going on. There's PR, marketing, operations, finance, product, tech. It's all go. But let's just talk about the highlights.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the main points in the last 7 days. What are the highlights?
Okay, so the highlight for me was walking past Leicester Square station, looking up and seeing one of our billboards.
Ah, yeah,
that billboards. Was a highlight. It looked great, and it was at night time, and it looked really, really cool.
The billboards, yeah. So we, our marketing agency is called Orange Panther. They've done a great job in helping us kind of get it down on paper, well, up on paper, up on screen.
And a big shout out to Ocean
Outdoor. So we've done a partnership with Ocean Outdoor. They've been putting our name everywhere, pretty much, and they're up and down the country. We've got quite a few different locations, quite a few messages with real creators, though.
Yeah,
giving them the stage.
And it's been nice for the creators to see themselves up in the lights as well. And we've had a lot of really nice feedback from them saying, thanks so much for putting them up there. We've got so many of them. It's so hard to pick which ones. You don't want to leave out some, and you don't want to give some too much exposure. I think we've done a good breadth of all the different creators on the platform and picked. And it's going to evolve, and every creator's going to.
We'll keep helping.
We'll keep recurring.
Keep pushing, helping different people.
So I've said that for me was walking past Leicester Square tube station on Tuesday night, looking to the left. I knew it was there anyway, but I didn't go there purposely. No. I had a meeting town, and looking up and seeing it in big, in bold, Lounge TV, and so that was
I had someone text me last night saying, I've just spotted this. They didn't know about it. They just walked past it. Yeah, that is pretty cool.
Your mum or?
No. So billboards happened. We had some cool features, actually, in the press. We had T3 magazine did a nice little write-up. That was cool. They compared us to MySpace in its heyday. There we go. Did you want to answer that?
I thought I turned that on mute, so sorry.
This is classic Scott, by the way. He's always on the phone, and if you want to get hold of Scott, he'll always answer. But if you're in a meeting, he will always answer his phone.
Well, it depends who it is.
It's a good thing you're contactable.
I don't answer. If it's you, I don't answer to. Yeah. But you never know who it is. It's always
It's reliable. It's good. Because
going back, moving away from my phone ringing as it always does every 5 minutes. Moving to that amazing video that you wanted to touch on that.
I think we should show it in this podcast. James, is that a technology we can add in later? And we're going to show it now.
Lounges TV was launched to empower creators,
to level the playing field for musicians,
comedians,
educators, and experts in food,
fitness, and all kinds of other things.
It's not for the millions of wannabes.
Lounges TV, it's all about the should-bes.
The ones with genuine talent,
skills, and expertise.
The ones who should be more successful.
The ones who should be
in front of bigger and better audiences.
The ones who really should be earning more money
than meager pennies that other streaming platforms pay.
The ones who genuinely deserve the chance to make more of what they're so good at.
So Lounges is where you get to stand out.
Because it's not just a new platform for creators.
It's a pedestal,
a stage,
a showcase for the rising stars.
Focusing on your best content.
It's your chance to get noticed,
connected to,
appreciated,
supported, and rewarded by your audiences.
Properly.
Because you should be.
If you're a creator, then now's your chance to step up.
The magic of cinema, as they say. That another Orange Panther project.
Yeah, really good, really cool. Loved it.
Really cool. So
and can't wait to see it out there.
Big thanks to all the creators that did that. That was really good.
And also today, Mail Online did an article about, they did an interview with some of our creators, and they spoke to various different creators and also us as well. And they did an article about thousands flock to Lounger TV, which is happening, and it's great, and it's good to see the coverage in the press as well. So I was really happy when I saw that today. That's hot off the press today.
It is.
Mail Online. Please visit the Mail Online.
So that's the news. That's where we are.
That's the news.
That's this week. It's been a busy week, but every week is, and lots going on, lots to see, lots to show, lots to share. So everyone out there, keep sharing. It does actually make a huge difference. I don't think people quite realise how much a like and a share helps.
Yes.
Even friends and family. I know it's maybe not always relevant to everyone, but a like and a share is just...
Yeah, I hope we're not annoying my friends with all the different kind of posts I'm putting on Instagram, because I'm constantly posting and doing stories.
But it helps. Our network
stuff.
boosting it, it gets it in there, and it puts it out to the
world. And we've also hit 15,000 followers. Hopefully by this, hopefully we'll increase that by 1,000. But it's still a lot of people that are engaging.
Going up every day.
Every day.
So that's where we are today. Big week, always a big week. But this week, what I want to talk about for our kind of little chat, our little ramble, is people often ask me, they probably ask you the same, how you, like, where you start, like when you're going to do something like this, or when we set out to do lounges, where you start and where you go from, I've got this idea, to it's actually a fully fledged startup. So I thought maybe we'd spend a bit of time just talking about those kind of early days, a little trip down memory lane.
It starts with an idea.
All starts with an idea.
Starts with an idea.
Explain it. Where'd that come from?
The idea came from in COVID, obviously, when everyone was streaming and streaming became the norm. Streaming became an acceptable way to communicate and entertain yourselves, because no one was allowed to go out. So that was kind of like the world had become acceptant to streaming. So it was a big tick in the box. And then also, if you look at all the the Zoom and all the other platforms out there that were allowing you to do that, but there's no paywalls, there was no interaction, there was no immersivity, there was no. Don't get me wrong. It was great for what it needed to be, but you couldn't do a live stream with it in music and feel like you're really engaged with the audience. So if you combine those two things and then wrap a layer around the Uber and the creator economy, so you have streaming, the paywalls, creator economy, and allow people to decide on their terms how much they want to charge when they want to go live. And that's how kind of I looked at it, all these three things, and thought, wow, these three things together could form a really great innovation of business.
Yeah. And that was kind of when me and you started talking. We were working on other projects at the time. I was kind of enjoying life as a freelancer, and then the phone call happened. So same. I think the opportunity was huge, and it was, everyone was doing it, as you said. It was bloody wine tasting and pub quizzes and anything anyone could think of was online. But it was all workarounds, right? Yeah. It was all like shortcuts, and it was all
PayPal links and
PayPal me this much. When I see it come in, I'll send you a Zoom link, but don't share it with anyone else, because I don't want anyone else, and all that crap.
And you just never knew who was on the Zoom. You could have thousands of people on there. You wouldn't know who paid, who didn't pay. So streamlining that was,
and I think from the outset, it was quite an important thing that you could, we could build this platform with all these great features, but we were in a moment in time where everyone was locked in their house, as you said, and no one had anything else to do. So it was kind of we were quite cautious early on to make sure that it would live beyond.
Yeah, it had to have longevity.
Yeah.
But but I think that's, it's clear there is, Look at Netflix, look at all the streaming platforms out there. It's unbelievable.
It's changed, It's changed. The world's changed, and we wanted to make sure the platform did that, and that was, that was kind of the birth of the idea. But idea aside, what are the first conversations?
So obviously the first conversation for me is once you've got an idea, you need to look at the numbers and make sure it's a viable business. The best idea could be an amazing idea, but if it doesn't make money, then it's pointless. So does it make money as a business? How do you make money from a business? And thankfully, the way we positioned the model, both the creators are getting a significant revenue share that beats majority of platforms out there in the market today. And whilst the balance of it, which is a small balance, is enough for the business to do what it needs to do and make hopefully some profits. Yeah. So that's the first point: is it a viable business? And then once we work the viable business model out and we modelled it and looked at the growth plans, then for me it was about building a team around me that could add value, such as yourself, Craig, and on the user experience and the design, because you can, as I say, you could have the best product in the world, but if the user journey isn't acceptable, then if the front door doesn't open, there's no point. So then you brought Ben Lavender in, who had a massive experience in streaming, and then we brought Tom in, who had a massive experience in technology. So really building the foundations. You got the planning. Now it's about to get those foundations in and really kind of get the advice you need from everybody.
Yeah, I think that's a huge point, right? It's about relevant skills. It's about knowing what you're doing, and you can start a business and maybe some of your skills can give you a boost, but no matter how skilled you are, there's always going to be people can't be the master of everything, and I think the advisor kind of conversation, getting people's buy-in early on when it's actually not a company yet, it's not a business yet, having those kind of conversations. Big bit I want to talk about, because I think it's a bit of a this big kind of giant mammoth thing that sort of happens, and before I'd done it, I had no insight into it. But, now we do it on a regular basis, on a day-to-day basis. It's all we ever talk about. But fundraising, particularly fundraising in those early days. How do you go from, okay, you've got your product idea, the business model would work, it plays out in a spreadsheet. You've got a team of experts who buy into it.
Well, yeah, funding, the landscape's changed dramatically since when we first raised our money. It's tough. It's really tough out there to raise funding for various different reasons. But it's all, I suppose it's all about the team, and people back teams. And if they believe in you as a leader, and they believe in the people around you as soldiers, then, you've got much more chance of raising funding. And that's the luckily we had that. But it's also about, we use Crowdcube. And what we wanted to do is we knew that we would resonate this business model to thousands and thousands of people, and a lot of the creators that we were speaking to work out, is this model work? Loved the idea and thought I'd love to be part of it. Yeah. So by us doing that Crowdcube the fundraising platform, it allowed us to bring in these retail investors that can put 10, 15, 20 pounds in and feel part of it. Yeah. So
crowdfunding via Crowdcube. Other platforms are available.
They are indeed.
Crowdcube, or crowdfunding, should I say? What's the first word that springs to mind when I say crowdfunding?
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I think crowdfunding is a great platform because, as I said, it allows you to tackle the retail traders and investors, the ones on the street that wouldn't have the chance to invest in innovative businesses. But the problem with the problem with crowdfunding as a whole is you need to work your network.
It's tough.
And it is
My
hard.
response to that question would be, it is tough.
Because, you feel like you're not begging, but you're constantly putting it out there that you want money. You've got a target to hit, and your only the vision of the business is, nothing is more important than hitting that target. Luckily, we hit that target quite quickly, but for me it's quite challenging.
It's very difficult.
Friends, family, and
and it's probably important to explain the way that works. So obviously crowdfunding, it is people invest in sometimes small amounts of money, or it's still obviously everything helps, but it's en masse, a kind of a crowd, as the name suggests. But people look at certain metrics when they're deciding whether to invest, and what they usually look at is how many other investors.
Correct.
So
people follow the crowd.
Exactly. Yeah. Right. So what we were trying to do in those early days, and anyone listening who kind of knew us back then, any friends and family, it was, can you put a bit of money in?
Yeah.
The minimum I think was £10 at the time. Can you put some money in? We're building this crowd momentum, and that's really what you mean. You have to play the game.
You have to work your network.
It's a tough.
It is tough because you're asked. It's tough times. We were raising money out of the pandemic. A lot of people were on furlough and they didn't have money, and so it's always, don't like putting pressure on anybody to put money in. But hopefully, it'll be a great investment for them, and they'll be thanking us for.
I mean, what a reaction we got though, right? Like you said, we shot through it.
That video we had when you do a crowdfunding campaign, you need to have a video that really brings to life the business.
Should we talk about the video? Let's spend a couple of minutes talking about the video, because
we should also play the video on one of these podcasts.
Yeah, it still stands up actually. I think.
Yeah, 100%.
Was it?
Yeah.
Almost 2 years ago?
Yeah, 18 months.
18 months ago. So the video, we already had a video that someone had created for us. And I think that when we were going into the crowdfunding, I think it's probably fair to say that you weren't that keen on doing a new video. I was very keen on doing a new video.
I wasn't not keen on doing the video. I wasn't too keen on spending the money
on the invoice, yeah. But we did it. And we went super ambitious with it as well. Yeah. And I think this is probably a bit of a theme actually in taking an idea into a company or into a startup. It's like you are constantly biting off as much as possible to make it as good as possible, to show up big, make it as good as it possibly can be. And the video was a perfect example of that.
We put it together in 5 days.
Yes.
And if people watch that video today, I would like to think that.
But it was 5 days. That's including scripting, writing, shooting,
finding the
actors, the venues. I was in Cornwall on holiday for like the first 3 or 2 of them days. Joining Zoom calls from the B&B, writing the script, doing all that kind of stuff, and then I got back and we went into, I think it was 2 full days, was it, or 3?
3 full days. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday of shooting. In the office in Shoreditch.
Yes, and also in random people's houses as well.
And we definitely called a few favours. We had a friend of mine who had a stunning house with a pool. We used that for the fitness.
Yeah.
Erin, who's our PA, who helps us at lounges. It was her first day at the job, and I said, right, meet us at the location. Actually, no, meet us at the station. I picked her up, and as soon as she landed into the room, we were like, okay, here's your part. And she was like, what part? I said, you're going to be the influencer on the ad, and so when you see the ad later, you'll see Erin on the ad. She's obviously still works with us.
I think it would have scared anyone else off, I think.
She's still here. It's been 2 years later, over 2 years later, she's still here.
Yeah.
So that was I think that was a fun 3 or 4 days putting that together. And even Luigi, who did the filming, he came over from Spain. Do you remember he came from Spain to do the filming? He even said, I must admit, when I first heard the brief on the Monday, I did not think you were going to be able to pull this off on the Friday, and we did pull it off.
A long old day.
It's still on our website, and people still watch it now.
And I roped my little brother in to help him run around, and
he
hasn't left yet.
Yeah,
18 months later, he's still running around. Yeah. So we did the video. That kind of forms the front of the crowd campaign. People go through these campaigns, they watch the videos, and then they ask for more documentation later. So I think that really helped.
And EIS as well. If we talk about raising funding and how you raise funding and how you make it easy for yourself, EIS is a entrepreneurs investment scheme that allows investors to recoup some tax back from their investment. So most businesses in startup world, if you can get EIS, or it's SEIS, which is the first £150,000, and the EIS becomes the later stage. That is a massive advantage for businesses, because investors then get on EIS 35% of their investment back on their tax return, and also if God forbid the business fails, then they also get a rebate on the 65%.
Yeah. So it's de-risking, right?
It's really important that startup businesses really try and focus on if they can and they qualify to get SEIS and EIS.
Yes, good tip. See, good tip. Anyone looking to do some fundraising. So fast forward then, crowd campaign finishes. We have a mixture in there of funding from the crowd, funding from other investors, as you said, EIS, SEIS investors, which is brilliant. What was the first thing we did? Money's in the bank, ideas in the pocket.
Well, it was more feasibility, wasn't it, around how the platform's going to work, what it's going to do. We talked to lots of creators. We did lots of focus studies and focus groups, talking to real people about what they want, what they don't like from the current platforms, what they do like from the other ones, and working together to shape version 1.
Version 1. I think that and this is again, it's the same conversation again, that you're starting out, you raise money, but you do not have an infinite amount of money. that money has got to go a long way in from it's an idea to it works and it's generating revenue. And we've always been very careful throughout with funding, and for example with the product work, it kind of you lean into your own skills, and my background is product, and I just hired the best 2 designers I've ever worked with for 8 weeks and said, right, we've got 8 weeks to do this mammoth of a project, and we worked God knows what hours to get it done, and that kind of formed the brief to the tech guys.
I think that was and also finding the right tech guys as well. That's very important, because that's the most important part.
Do you
of our
remember
business.
on that video shoot we were I was sat in a pub in Shoreditch while you guys were filming outside, on a call to the tech guys who were scoping out the designs that we hadn't finished yet.
That's right, in America.
Yeah, in America, obviously on American time, So it's
I was going to say there's been it's been
and that kind of brings us in a whirlwind tour. That brings us up to let's take some office space and let's start building the team. And there's probably lots of stories to go through in there. We won't keep the journey on.
We've moved a few times from the same kind of area, but we've had a much smaller office when we first started, and now we've got a much bigger office, more staff, employing.
I said to Scott that I would never work in the office because I was on the working from home.
And I said I'd never work from home.
Yeah, and
you're here every day.
I'm here every day.
Can't get enough of me, can you?
Exactly. So that's kind of where we are, and I think the big part there is, as I said, it's the skills, it's the knowing what you can do. If you're picking a startup where there is some kind of background or relevance to what you do, there's a huge advantage there. But it's knowing what you can't do as well, and finding other people.
And don't be shy to ask for help. Don't be shy to make mistakes. Don't be shy to ask questions.
Yeah.
Because
everyone else is doing it.
100%.
Everyone else is asking for help and making mistakes.
And you learn from your mistakes. But there's a lot of people out there that are too shy to fail and too shy to ask questions.
Yeah.
And that's where you've really got to kind of just, you're on a mission, and you've got to do what you need to do. And you're going to make mistakes. You're going to ask stupid questions. Especially, I'll probably ask lots of stupid questions in the text.
You do. What do you mean, tech, like how to print something?
Tech questions, but it's important. But I'm not a techie, but I need to understand I need to understand the concept of what we are building and how we're building it.
Of course. And everyone's, like I said, I'd never done fundraising before, and now we've done God knows how many pitches. We've done live pitches to audiences. We've done, pitches to.
That was quite an interesting pitch day, wasn't it? When we did it in front of 150 people, and it was a competition, wasn't it?
It was competition,
and we
came second.
We came the top 3. Sounds better.
Okay.
No, so we came second. But the other company was trading and live. We weren't trading at that point.
Yeah.
And we raised some money on the back of that as well, which was good.
Yeah.
But I didn't enjoy that, I must admit.
No, I didn't enjoy that either. We're not, people probably can tell from listening to this podcast, we are not public speakers.
You speak for yourself. No.
I mean, you speak a lot. But as soon as we're up on
publicly,
the stage, publicly you speak a lot. But whether that makes you comfortable with public speaking and getting up on a stage, it is a very different.
No, it
world.
was quite daunting. But
do you
remember the screen? When it was huge. It was
massive.
in the Samsung building in King's Cross.
Massive.
But it's if you believe in the product, you believe in yourself. That's all you need.
100%.
That is the most. If you're confident and you believe what you're selling and talking about, then it should be plain sailing.
If it's your baby and it's your work and it's your idea, there's you know the most about it. It's your passion.
But it's still daunting standing in front of 150 people, and there's always one smart ass that tries to ask a question that you might not know. And
I know. I never know what to do with my hands when I'm stood up on stage in front of. I'm actually doing it this podcast. I keep covering my face.
Well, as long as don't put in Danny trousers, it'll be all right.
All right, good tip. Good tip for public speaking. All right, we've rambled enough about that. That was probably a bit of a brain dump. But anyone who's kind of wondering about the background of that, it's a ridiculous amount of hard work, but it is logical steps.
Yeah, and we're not the experts. We don't make out we are the experts, but if there is anybody out there that wants to find out a little bit more and they feel that we can add a little bit of value in their journey about how to raise funding or how to navigate raising funding with crowdfunding platforms or anything, then always available to reach out. You can call me on my phone.
Yeah, he'll answer. Always. That actually leads on to the next point, because last episode we did a quickfire round and it was a bit of a get to know us kind of thing. This time round I wanted to open the floor a little bit, and actually this could maybe become the regular thing that, as you said, if anyone wants advice or has any questions or a bit of behind the scene insight as to what goes on in a crowdfunding campaign, for example, ping in the question and it will make it into this quickfire round, and we'll try and do We'll try and do a set, maybe 10 each episode, and we'll just take questions from listeners and whoever wants to ask anything.
Any questions?
I've got a few questions.
Okay.
Yeah, I've got a few questions. I actually asked the guys in the office some of these questions, things that they think listeners would want to hear, and maybe things that they want to hear as well. So
I've not
some of
seen
these are from
these,
them.
so
No, they're good. They're a good set. So, first question: where did the name Lounges TV come from?
Well, we've debated about this, haven't we?
Yeah.
Who actually came up with the name? Was it me or was it you? Was it me or was it you? I think the first one we couldn't use due to...
yeah, you wanted to call it Live Lounges.
and
or
obviously...
Live Lounge.
Live Lounge.
Live Lounge, which is BBC.
Correct.
Live
and
Lounge.
obviously we couldn't do that.
No.
And then... I can't remember who did actually come up with the name Lounges. I'm going to claim
Well,
it's
an adaptation of that,
So it's my
isn't it,
idea,
right?
then,
It's your
basically,
idea,
yeah.
yeah. You can have that one.
No,
I
so
added the .tv, though,
yes,
which is the best bit, arguably.
Yes, which is the best bit, yeah.
Because I just think it goes a little way to summarise what it is. It's something you're going to watch. I think if we were lounges.com, we would be selling sofas.
Yeah. And you don't need to be a TV channel anymore. It will exist online.
Yeah.
That's what we are. We're an entertainment platform that's online, and we just have we just show content. So I think .tv was another genius idea of mine.
Yeah, good one. All right, well, these are going to change up a lot through here. Okay, so
do we know who they're from, or
no, we don't. Shall I add that next time? Shall I get? I'll call out who they're from next time.
Okay.
All right.
Do you know who they're from or not?
No.
Okay.
No. So the one thing that's keeping you awake right now?
Keeping me awake?
Yeah.
My heart.
From the stress.
What do you mean it's keeping me awake?
What are you thinking about? What do you wake up thinking about? I guess this is targeted at, what's the stress right now? What's the focus?
I think there's a lot going on, and there's trying to find all the hours in the day, from dealing with investors, dealing with making sure the revenue, dealing with marketing partners. I think it's a startup business is intense. It's full on, and I don't sleep that much anyway. I have 6 hours sleep and I'm fine. But I think that I just want to have a successful business with lots and lots of creators earning revenue, and there's lots of things to keep me awake. Too many to mention.
Yeah, for me it's tech, which is kind of my focus in the business and my kind of baby. But it's
making sure it works.
Making sure it works, and that's the same. Any project, when you come up to any technical deadline, which we're heading up to the app launch, it's that, and you can constantly be looking at the app. Oh, there's that. You could tweak that. You can move that. You could shift that over, and it's knowing when to stop. Because I would love nothing more than if we agreed that we had another 6 months on it, because I could just keep going and going and going and going.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the focus right now. We kind of discussed this one, but probably a quick fire answer to it. Step one of moving a business idea forward. The first thing, have a drink, because it's got to be a good answer.
Well, we kind of covered that in the first part, but it's about the first step is defining the business and understanding whether it makes money. Is it a viable business? Yeah.
Does it work? Yeah.
And how you're going to fund it.
This one came in from a listener, actually. Has it always been music focused? Which is actually, as a mistake in the question, that it's not music focused.
No, it's not music focused. I think music has been an area that we've tackled, and because there's so many creators out there that are struggling in the musician. I think, as we said last week, the average wage of a musician in the UK at the moment is just short of £15,000. So it's tough. So we have got lots of different categories, but I think the category and the genre that's lend itself perfectly to lounge has been music.
But I think the kind of short answer to that question is it is not music focused.
No, definitely
it's
not.
It's a tool. It's a set of tools that anyone can use to monetize their talent, and their talent might be education, fitness, music, whatever.
Right. Yeah, totally agree.
Let's race through these. It seems like an overnight success, but how long have we been working at this?
It's definitely not been an overnight success. It's taken time to build, but I would say we've been working on this for 2 years, 8 months, haven't we, roughly, from when we first came up with the concept.
Yeah,
and
I mean, I was working on it whilst running my own kind of agency and day job, and you were doing the same.
And it might look like from the inside out that from outside in, that it's it's perfect, happened. But it's there's challenges every day, and it's good.
This one. Who were your first 5 hires? Which I don't think we need to name names, but I think if we talk about, we can't name names, but roles, and who are the focus areas?
Well, the first one was well, I will say her name. She won't mind. Is Erin.
Yeah.
Who came in to help me kind of
Organise ourselves a little bit.
ourselves. We had so much going on.
Yeah.
And then our roles with them were clearly focused around tech, because without tech we had nothing. So it's Erin there to help us bring together our diaries and managing things. And then the next 4 hires were tech guys scoping out the business.
Yeah. So again, same answer. Get the people around you that you need the help from. Who manages your socials? I'm taking that as a compliment.
You
that
can
they're
answer
asking.
that, but that's
No. Well, as it stands right now, I mean, we have a guy called Kai, and he is brilliant, and he designs the posts, he schedules the posts, he manages the socials. He is unwell at the moment, so
get well, Kai.
Get well soon, Kai. Is Lounges UK only, or will it be available globally?
At the moment, we're focusing on the UK for creators, but and Europe. But we hope that we can have global ambition, where we'd love to tackle the US market for music, and but at the moment we are kind of focusing our marketing efforts around the UK.
Yeah, I mean it's licensing, isn't it?
Yeah,
I actually go back and I change my answer. The thing that keeps me up and up is licensing, because it's not, you know, we've got it, we're covered, we're secured, but the understanding of how the music industry works
it's complicated.
It's complicated.
Yeah.
Okay, last question then. You can go back to the start. We're beginning again, and we're doing it all over again. What's the one thing you'd do differently? Big question. I can go first if you want. I keep putting all these questions on you.
Yeah, you go first. Make sure it's not finding a different co-founder.
Yeah. Yeah, I was just wondering if I could maybe change that now, but I guess I can't. I'm stuck with
too late.
So I think what we've said, you find the right people. I think we had a missing part around marketing, and marketing is an underestimated art form that we are now getting our heads around. We're getting sorted, and we're launching. We've got some great help from the guys. But I think if we did the same, we found that kind of lead person early on, I think that's what I changed.
I agree, actually. I think marketing was potentially an area that we probably did not looked at, but you know, a good CMO is big money, and and that's why when you start a business, you've got to roll your sleeves up, and you've got to get involved in lots of different things. And thankfully now we can we are bringing in a very experienced chief marketing officer, but at the early stages we just didn't have the funding to do that. So
and you got to live by your means, right?
Exactly. So
do the priorities.
We've had to do things in the right order, and thankfully now we've got the right people in the right place. But I agree with you, marketing probably could have. We're not marketing experts. We thankfully we got a good steer on marketing, but we're no experts.
I think we've made do. I think we've done well, and it's showing in the results. I think it's okay. But that's the one thing I change. And that's it for the quick fire. So any questions, anything you want to know, anything you want to know more about, whether that's Lounges or kind of more generally about us, send them in, and we'll read them out next week, and we'll get talking about them. So last week we picked a Artist of the Week, where we just looked back at some of the streams that's happened on our platform, some of the creators, and pulled one out. I picked last week. This week it's Scott's turn to pick.
Yeah.
I will say, actually, before we move on to that though.
Yeah.
Last week we asked for jingles, and we didn't get sent any jingles.
We didn't get any jingles.
No. So another shout out for jingles. We need some jingles for these segments. But Scott, pick of the week.
My pick of the week was an artist that is managed by somebody who we work with, one of our advisors. I think he's an absolute legend. He's got an amazing voice, really active on the platform, and a big advocate of what we're doing at Lounges. And it's none other than Moss Kenner.
Moss Kenner.
Yes.
Okay, well, I've got a surprise for you. Moss Kenner.
Oh my God. What a surprise. How are you?
I'm good, how are you?
Very well indeed. Nice to see you.
Yeah, good to see you too.
Nice to see you.
Moss, pleasure to have you in the studio.
Thanks for having me. I'm glad
How are
to
you?
be here. Thank you.
Round of applause.
Round of applause.
Maybe I'll
Moss.
make you a jingle for next week.
Yes.
Oh, that would be good.
That'd be really cool.
That wasn't a hint there. I wasn't
Yeah,
throwing that in.
nice.
Scott asked last week, and no one sent one.
Yeah.
I was half expecting Scott to record one, to be honest, but
I could do next time.
We didn't get that. So how are you?
I'm good. I'm
Yeah?
great. Yeah.
What's been going on?
Here. I've just been busy in the studio and
Yeah.
travelling around. I do a lot of work in Germany.
You've been in Germany, haven't you? I saw
Yeah.
on Insta. You've been in Germany.
I've been back and forth.
With some big fan base in Germany, haven't you?
Yeah, it's really.
Why is it taken off in Germany?
Well,
more?
basically, I had a record that was really big there, so I guess it just kind of grew organically out of that. And I go where my audience is. So
Yeah.
if they want me, I'll turn up.
What's it like? How are the audiences different between
Well,
countries?
I'd say mainly like with the Germans, they love to clap along, not on the beat, but like they love to clap along.
Right, is it
And
distracting?
so it's like I've got like one time frame going on in my in-ears, and then
Yeah.
they're just sort of on the other side of it. But it's great. You know, they're just so up for it. Yeah, it's interesting. Like in the UK, you definitely notice a difference in audiences. Sort of like the further north you go, everyone gets a
really?
bit more lively. In
Bit more
London,
rowdy.
everyone's a bit more like, you know, come and
You mean you're
impress
getting
me.
bottles thrown at you?
Yeah,
in the north?
exactly. And then you get to Glasgow, and everyone's like, "Wow!"
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Actually, no, I won't make you answer that. I was going to say, what's your favourite audience, but I won't make you answer that. So, give us a bit of a background into you. Like, tell us a bit about yourself. Like, you know, where did it start? Where's it going? What are you doing at the moment?
So, musically, it began for me around 2016. I'd met my manager, and I released a cover. There's the first sort of thing of music that I put online, and at that time, I didn't really have an image. Do you know what I mean? I didn't really know who I was as an artist. So I decided to just put some music online, with no picture of me or anything like that, just to sort of get a reaction. So back in the days of SoundCloud, I did a cover of a Kendrick Lamar song, where I kind of just put like lyrics, melody to his lyrics, and turned his kind of rap into a melodic song. And so I posted it on SoundCloud, and it was kind of weird. Like, it just kind of had a little like viral moment, and then lots of like publications started writing about it, like Pigeons and Planes, and lots of like cool music blogs started writing about it. And I guess because no one knew who I was or what I looked like or how old I was, you know, they were just
Going on your sound.
Yeah, they were just
is
going based
amazing.
on my voice. So yeah, luckily somehow Kendrick Lamar heard it, and
Oh, wow.
I got to meet him, and I met up with him a few times and hang out, and kind of got that co-sign, which was really cool. And then that just, the hype kind of builded from there, really.
Yeah.
And yeah,
It's amazing that he reached out to you. And
yeah, it was really cool. I still to this day
he's a
don't
great
know how.
artist.
Yeah.
He's really cool.
He's amazing, and I think it's really cool when like artists champion other artists like that,
Yeah.
especially when, you know, he was so massive and I was just at the very beginning. But it kind of snowballed from there, just consistently releasing music, and you know, I've been very lucky. I've had some big records, especially in Europe, and you know, that's got me sort of to here.
Yeah.
So
And what's
yeah.
next?
What's next? I just released an EP, which I'm very, very excited about, and yeah, I think
That was last week, wasn't it?
it was last month.
Last month.
Yeah, it was last month. But I think for me, like my main
Which
focus,
was last week.
Which was last week.
Yeah.
At the time of recording.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
No, but I think my main focus now is building on live performances, doing as many live performances as I can. I'd love to do a tour next year. Yeah.
Have you ever toured the US and been to America, performed there?
I haven't toured the US. I've toured the UK. I've been very lucky. I've done some great support slots with Jess Glynn and Rita Ora.
Really?
I did a tour with
Wow, of course.
Bastille as well, which is really cool. So yeah, I played some really nice big
Biggest
rooms.
venue?
Yeah, I'd say it was. I can't remember exactly which one was the biggest, but I think it was the O2 Arena.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's when you can't remember, surely.
Well, I don't know the exact capacities, but yeah.
Wow,
I
you played
think-
at the O2 though.
Yeah,
haven't you?
twice.
Yeah, twice. I've seen the one. Yeah, wow, that's
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah, it's-
That must be a buzz coming out.
Oh,
seeing
it's incredible.
all thousands of people just there
Yeah.
clapping out a tune.
It's really strange. It's like, it's one of those things that as an artist, like, you work your whole life, you think like that'll be when I know I've made it, and then you sort of get there and you're just like, wow, like this is, it's just
and
insane.
then you want more and
Doesn't
more and
sink in.
more.
Well, yeah, that's exactly it. I mean, it's a big rush doing stuff like that. So I've definitely got the bug for it.
Yeah.
bet you have.
So you support acts there. I mean, that's such a vital way to kind of get your stuff to new audiences, right?
Yeah.
And there's going to be lots of aspiring artists listening to this.
Mm-hmm.
How do they come about? What do you do? You know, how do you get yourself in those positions?
I think the thing is, right, like as an artist, like there's no like magic formula. There's no blueprint that works for everybody. It's about working really hard. And like your natural talent is probably about 10% of it. And the rest, I would say, is graft, networking, hard work, and making your own luck. Do you know what I mean? Be as ready as you can with your talent. Like, be really good at what you do.
Yeah.
But like,
But you got to work.
put yourself in
Yeah.
the places where people can help you. And for me, I'd say, especially with like a platform like lounges and stuff like that, what it really is about building your stage, filling your own room. Do you know what I mean? Because if you're an aspiring artist, people ask me all the time, how do you get a record deal? How do you do this thing? I want to be a singer. How do I do it? And the truth is, do it yourself.
Yeah.
For as much as you can, and with platforms like these where you can just put on your own shows. You know, small music venues are dying. There's no support for them. You know, so when you can have a platform like this where you can just bring your audience and have your own shows like that.
I mean, lots of people get found online. I mean, you look at Justin Bieber, was found on YouTube by Usher. Do you know, that's why, you know, these platforms like ours, hopefully, I'm really hoping that we're going to find some amazing, or not just we're going to find, but other people can get found by our platform, by, you know, artists and management coming onto our platform and looking for talent.
What I think is really cool about that as well is like, what would look more appetizing to a label? Would it be like millions of people on TikTok, or would it be selling tickets on lounges? Do you know what I mean? I personally think that that's a lot more of a viable prospect for a label if you can demonstrate that you are selling tickets.
Correct,
you are drawing people in.
People are willing to pay for your content.
Exactly.
That means they'll buy your merch, they'll watch you in concert.
Otherwise, it's just numbers.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where we are at the moment. You know, there's a lot of big artists on TikTok that get signed and then nothing happens because they're just numbers. They're just nameless
people. They go viral
people.
for a month and they move on.
And it's so short-lived, and it's like that. It's encouraging that fast food kind of thing.
Snackable content.
Yeah, and it's just like that's, for me, in my personal opinion, that is not true artistry. True artistry is, you know, being as good as you can at what you do, but also building a community, bringing people in, and to be able to do that on lounges is pretty sick.
Brilliant.
So talking of lounges, I mean, you've been here since day one, really, because as Scott said, as Scott said, your manager Marco is one of our advisors, and I'm sure we'll get him in for a conversation on another episode. But I mean, being real, me and Scott are open and honest with our kind of listeners. You've done some stream tests. Some didn't go to plan.
Yeah.
You know, we had a stream test. Moss came in, did a stream from the studio, and it just didn't connect. And it was one of them test moments that didn't go wrong.
That was the first.
I think that was the second stream we'd ever done. We talked about the first one on the last episode, and that went brilliantly. Yeah. And we were like, right.
Just to confirm, this was about a year ago, wasn't it?
Yeah. But you know, we're not here to pretend that everything goes smooth sailing. Things happen. More importantly, though, since then you've done other streams, and that you know, we weren't in the test, in amongst the testing. And tell us about the stream, the experience of kind of hosting a stream. Some people, you know, for their first time, they get a bit anxious about it. They find it maybe a little bit unnatural, not to have an audience in front of you as such.
Yeah, well, I guess it's strange. I mean, I've done live streaming, you know, before on other platforms, but I think what's different about this is that the people who were there are really committed to me because, you know, I brought my audience in, so they want to be there. Yeah. Either, you know, they've parted with money to be there. It's like buying a ticket to a show, which I think is really cool. I didn't really get like, you know, anxious. Kind of, I'm quite relaxed in that environment. I think for me, not skeptical is the wrong word, but like before I started doing lounges, I was kind of thinking, what would that be like? What would that be like selling tickets to an event, but they're not there? But, you know, the connectivity is great. You still feel that connection with people when you see the little chat going off like that. And, you know, people are tipping and people are like, it's a bit of a buzz, actually.
Yeah. We try to, you know, one thing we try to do is bring that fan engagement together. Because that fan engagement is so important for you guys to engage with your fans and fans to engage with you. And the ability to be able to bring people together and raise their hand and come into the event and ask you questions that you can't get from a live concert. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
So people want to get up close and ask you questions and ask you about your journey, and that's, you know, one of the things that we really spend a lot of time around. How can we make that fan engagement really neat and tidy? The
big chat. I mean, we've involved users and creators from the outset. You actually were probably in some of those initial conversations when we were doing the initial design work and stuff, but something that kind of musicians and viewers alike told us, and general creators, is you can't replace live music. You can't substitute the feeling of 100 people in a room there for one reason, all sharing that experience. And like Scott says, we kind of took that as a bit of a brief and a challenge for the platform, as we're not trying to replace it. Yeah, we actually want to support it. Live music. No, you won't, because you can't replicate that energy. But what you can do is maybe offer the sort of alternative experiences that balance that out. And it, like Scott said, it's the interactions, the chats, the conversations, the intimate kind of nature of that.
Yeah, I think it solves a lot of problems, especially for very new artists. You know, to put on your own show, to sell tickets, to make money, you know, in the beginning is very, very difficult. When you're doing, you know, live, you know, real live audience shows, the overheads are incredible. You know, I know that, you know, first-hand experience of touring and stuff like that, and selling tickets for shows. Like, the overheads are incredible, and to even find venues now, small venues where you can do that kind of thing, it's really hard.
There's still thousands of pounds.
Yeah.
To
Yeah,
hire.
and you know, this is, you know, 2023. Like, it's changed. The game's changed, and actually how people consume music has changed. You know, a lot of people would be more into, you know, going and watching a live stream. It's just accessibility. Yeah. It's a lot easier. It's easier for the artist, and it's also easier for the audience. You know, I think.
And we should get talking about live. Obviously, we're partnered with the Lower Third, which is at the Outer Net, and we would love to invite you down there and to do a gig next year.
Oh, absolutely.
Love
to.
I'd love to for you to showcase one of our events. It'd be really cool.
Yeah, I've got a lot of, like, my UK fans are dying for shows over here as well. So it'd be great.
Let's do that. Let's do that in the first.
Yeah, let's do that. Have you seen that venue? Have you?
No, I've never been. No.
The Outer Net
is it's unbelievable.
It's an unbelievable place.
Yeah.
It's kind of like I think the Outer Net district they call it, and it's a series of kind of venues and rooms and bars and stuff. And one of them's the Lower Third, which is the intention behind it was emerging artists and you know, giving them a really kind of cool venue to sort of support that.
Amazing.
It's a cool place.
It is unbelievable. It's about 235 people capped, really close, really intimate.
Yeah.
It's got an amazing cocktail bar upstairs where they brought in some amazing cocktail.
You know, a lot of the best gigs I've ever been to have been rooms like that. You know, very, very small venues. I've been so lucky. I've seen some crazy people. Like, I remember back in the day, I saw Billie Eilish at the Jazz Club.
Oh wow! Did you really?
Jazz Club or Jazz Cafe? I can't remember.
In Camden, in the
Jazz Club. It was, and it was so small. I think it was about 150 people.
That must have
there.
been like 10 years ago.
Yeah, it was ages ago, and like no one really knew who she was. This is like one of those stories where, you know, everyone's like, oh, I knew Adele before everyone knew Adele. Do you know what I mean? It was like one of those things, but like I really was there.
Yeah.
It was just her and her brother, and it was so intimate, and like, you know, I was so close to her, and I'd never heard of her before, and I just, you know, I love that intimacy, and those kind of venues are awesome.
So we'll do that, Craig. We'll put that.
100%. And the good thing is that it's all our equipment's in there, ready to stream. So
Perfect.
you know, fans in Germany or wherever it is can still sort of see that performance. Yeah, that's what it's all about. So we kind of spoke about it there, but I think there's a kind of tendency to think that you've got to move from one platform to another, and we always sort of say that we're not trying to replace anything. As I said, we're not replacing live music, but at the same time, we're not trying to replace the TikToks, the YouTubes, and the other ones. It's another tool, I guess. So I just wanted to kind of ask you, you know, how does that fit into your sort of wider set of tools, and how are you using lounges in comparison to some of the other tools that you've got at your disposal?
Yeah, so I mean, for me personally, like the financial aspect of it, lounge is very beneficial for me in terms of like how quickly you can get paid, and the ability to sell tickets and make money is much better for me than other platforms. But I suppose what other platforms such as TikTok offer is the quick exposure and the sheer attention that you can gather. And what I do is I harness the attention that I get from TikTok and other platforms, and then, you know, I'll bring them over and say, come and watch a show.
Yeah,
you know,
that's exactly what we're saying. Is we're not trying to replace any of those other platforms. It's, you know, carry on using those, carry on building those audiences. But, you know, when you want to put on a much bigger, more, I suppose, a more spectacular event than a short form bit of content, then they'll come with you and watch it. But you've built those audiences on there.
Yeah, exactly.
I think it's when, you know, like we said before, it's all snackable, it's all quick and fast, but once in a while it is nice to do something a bit more produced, a bit more put on, a bit more intimate and exclusive, and hopefully Lounges gives you the tools to do that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, Moss, well, thanks a lot for coming in.
Thank you.
Nice surprise. Yeah, thank you.
Popped up out of nowhere. You're also here to do a stream.
Yes.
You were Scott's Pick of the Week, so we will play some of that maybe on the way out of the podcast. But where can people find you? What can they...
Check me out everywhere, Moss Kenner. Go check out my Spotify, wherever you get your music. Go check out my new EP, which is called After the Odyssey. Go check it out.
Brilliant.
Nice.
Thank you, Moss. Thanks for coming in.
So big thanks to everyone again for listening. It's all a new thing for us, but we're learning, we're improving. Thank you to Moss for joining us today. Check out his stream on Lounges. We will play some highlights at the end of this, but go and check out the actual stream itself because it is very cool. And if anyone's got any questions for next week, then send them in. Thanks a lot for listening, and see you next time.
I'm going to be singing some of the songs from my EP. It means so much to me that you guys are here with me right now. Thank you so much. Let me see Team Moss in the comments. Let me know if you like these songs. This one's called I Think I'm in Love with You. Hey! Don't know too much about relationships. Learned all my lessons from my mama's tears. I'm sorry if you think I pull away. It's just when we get closer, everything slows down and I feel afraid. But when your hands touching mine, I feel something inside, and I don't know if I'm worthy. I wanna see what you see when you're looking at me. I don't know if I deserve it. Ooh, I think I'm in love with you, but I don't know how to love when I'm broken. Spent my whole life trying to outrun emotion. Baby, ooh, I think I'm in love with you. Just don't make me fall for you. I don't know how to fall for you. I'm scared that I just ain't the loving kind. My vulnerability is wrapped in pride. Oh no, 'cause I ain't used to open hearts without conditions. But when you look at me, you make me tap into submission. You got me on the ropes when you hold my body close, and your hands touching mine, I feel something inside. I don't know if I'm worthy. I wanna see what you see when you're looking at me. I don't know if I deserve it. Ooh, I think I'm in love with you, but I don't know how to love when I'm broken. Spent my whole life trying to outrun emotion. Baby, ooh, I think I'm in love with you. Don't make me fall for you. I don't know how to fall for you. Can you be careful with my heart? Better be gentle with my heart. Can you be careful with my heart? Better be gentle with my heart. Careful, gentle, no, gentle. I see you, Team Moss. What's up? Hey, 'cause ooh, I think I'm in love with you, but I don't know. What's up, Cece? What's up, Gemma? Hey, Sheridan. Baby, ooh, I think I'm in love with you. Just don't make me fall for you. I don't know how to fall for you. Oh, oh. How are we doing tonight? Thank you so much for coming to join me. Hey. I hope you're all vibing along with me. Sing this one more time with me. Baby, ooh, I think I'm in love with you, but I don't know how to love when I'm broken. Spent my whole life trying to outrun emotion. Baby, ooh, I think I'm in love with you. Just don't make me fall for you. I don't know how to fall for you. Oh, oh. Thank you so much. All right.